So what do you have for us today?
Just some painting my grandma left to me in her will when she died.
Do you know anything about this painting?
Not really, it just looks like a bunch of smoke to me.
Well, this painting was composed in 1917 by Georgia O'Keeffe. She was born in November 15th in 1887. She graduated high school in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, and attended the Art Institute in Chicago and Art Student League in New York.
Wow, that's impressive. What's the name of it?
Well, the name of it is Train a Night in the Desert. She composed this when she would make frequent visits to Texas and Mexico. Do you have any idea how much this is worth?
I'm gonna guess $1 million.
Not quite that much, but it's pretty expensive, $250,000.
Thank you, Granny.
So, what do you have for us today?
Just these flower paintings I found in my basement.
Oh, really? Well, they look beautiful. What do you know about them?
Not too much. I just kind of get the sexual vibe from it. That's all I know about it.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about them. They were painted by Georgia O'Keeffe. They're from her New York period, which lasted from 1918 to 1929. And during that period, she moved to New York because she was invited there by another famous artist named Alfred Stieglitz. And while there, they got married in 1924. And this one is called Light Iris. It was painted in 1924. And this one is called Oriental Poppies. It was painted in 1928. And her flower paintings are among her most famous works. And they, a lot of art critics and scholars say that they symbolize the cycle of birth, life, death, and decay. And a lot of others say that they symbolize sexuality, although Georgia O'Keeffe never confirmed these. Do you have anything else?
Are they worth anything? Are they...
Well, unfortunately, since her flower paintings are her most famous work, many copies were made of them over the years. And this is exactly what you have right here, are copies of the originals. So they aren't worth anything.
Nothing at all like that?
Nothing.
So, what do you have for me here?
What I have for you today is 2 drawings I found in my grandmother's attic about a month ago. Yep.
Do you know anything about these paintings?
What I know about these paintings is that they're from Mexican descent. My grandmother was full Mexican.
Oh.
She lived in Mexico basically her whole life. So I'm hoping that them being true Mexican paintings that might get some big bucks.
Well, have you known Puerto Rican too?
Minorities.
Exciting. Well, let me just first off say that this is cow skull painting and this is Renaissance painting. And they were actually done in Mexico. Georgia O'Keeffe moved to Mexico, or started traveling to Mexico in 1928. She wanted to just kind of get more inspiration and just wanted to focus on different things. She started collecting bones, so that's how this whole bone collection came about. And she just kind of wanted to do floating bones for some reason. That was just her type of style. And these were painted, well, this one was painted in 1931, and this one was painted in 1935.
A long time ago.
So yeah, they're pretty old. Are you a rich man?
No, not at all. That's why I'm in this show trying to get lucky.
Well, let me just tell you that on a bad day, this would cost $25,000 for these paintings. But on a good day, they run for $250,000. So you, sir, are a lucky man.
Yes!
Okay, let's take a look what you have here today.
All right.
Now, do you know anything about these pieces at all? Well, I know that's a Campbell soup can, and I know that's Marilyn Monroe, but I don't know if these pictures have any relation. They're just something I found while I was helping my aunt move. She was just going to throw them away, so I figured, why not bring them in? Why not? Okay. Well, these are all apparently by the artist Andy Warhol. So Andy Warhol, I know that name. Okay. So he was actually born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in 1928, and after he attended the Carnegie Institute of Technology, he moved to New York, where he had a pretty successful illustrative advertisement career, and this one is actually part of that time. And he first started with an ad in Glamour magazine in 1949, where he illustrated shoes for them, and then moved on to some pieces with I. Miller, which this one is a part of, in 1955, where he did ads for him. And as a child, he was always seen with like a sketchbook in hand and was really into art, and it was mainly because his mom was actually an artist as well. And he was encouraged by his mom to finish pages in his coloring book, and she would give him chocolate for each page he would actually finish. And around the main time of him really getting into his like art was when Jackson Pollock was around doing his abstract expressionist stuff, which was at all not really what Andy Warhol was doing. He was doing more things like comic book characters and just like things people would see every day, like soup. And this is actually one of the ones he did about Campbell's, and he would do different varieties of soups, like this one's tomato, and he did one print, and he used like 100 cans all at once and would show them. Yeah. And he would use different things like paints and crayons and just draw them out and stuff, and just kind of mess with them. And they were shown at an exhibit in L.A. in 1962, and the day after it closed was the death of Marilyn Monroe, and he was always a really big movie fan, even as a child, and he really adored Marilyn Monroe, so it inspired him to do a series on the actress, and he used silk screening for a lot of this stuff, and he was really getting into that, and he would use a lot of he would paint on the hair and the makeup on the eyes and on the lips first, and then would print over it and stuff. And and soon after this, he bought a loft in New York City, which became known as the Factory, and he would do a lot of silk screening there and a lot of his different films, and a lot of artists would come and hang out. But in like 1968, a friend who was a part of the Factory scene actually came in and shot Andy Warhol and one of the friends, and he survived, but he became really paranoid after this point and kind of closed himself off and the Factory to many people, and he started getting into more of his darker stuff, like this one. And this one's actually a part of his Death and Disaster series, and this one's titled Lavender Disaster. And he would try to steer away from more primary colors like red and blue and go for more secondary colors like this one, like lavender, and some other ones, orange, just so it would show more of the gruesomeness and just more intensity of the prints like this. So, do you have any idea at all how much these would be worth?
Well, I believe this one, which I tried to do a little research on, and it said it was from the Sing Sing State Penitentiary in New York for the last 2 executions that were done, and this whole theme of darkness and photograph-like things. There was a car crash, and there was the green car crash, and that went for $71 million.
Okay, yeah, yours is right up there. Just kidding. Actually, this one is probably more like 5 cents, like how much you paid for the print. I can actually tell that you printed this off of the computer. This one as well, that one may cost you more, it's more color. This one you can actually see the background where it says copyright on it, straight off of the printer. And this one as well, they're actually all still pretty warm from printing them off. So, I mean, all together maybe like 50 cents.
I would assume.
Oh.
So, unfortunately, you probably just wasted your time.
I'm gonna go.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Antique Roadshow. Bye-bye.